let the door hit you on the way out. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Hey Trump, how you doing? How's that bottom line? I hear that ship of yours is sinking a fathom at a time. Sewer water coming up around your chin. I hope you got some water wings, 'cause I know you can't swim. And don't let the door hit you on the way out. And don't let the door hit you on the way out. Now I remember Tricky Nixon going down. We all thought he was the biggest crook to ever come to town, but you make him look like a real nice guy. So pack it up, buddy, and learn to say goodbye. And don't let the door hit you on the way out. And don't let the door hit you on the way out. Maybe they'll take you back on reality TV, where you can pretend to be the president of an imaginary country where everybody loves you and they admire your reach, and your hair is always perfect, and you can never be impeached. Or maybe you can get a job working in Trump Tower. Yeah, cleaning out the toilet bowls for $1.35 an hour. Or maybe something real easy where you don't have to think too hard, like walking real slow around a prison yard. And don't let the door hit you on the way out. And don't let the door hit you on the way out. And don't let the door hit you on the way out. And don't let the door hit you on the way out. Yeah, we're gonna have to fumigate the place after you're gone. A stench like that lingers when it's been around that long, but there's a better day coming, and it's coming around a bend, and it feels real good to sing this, so I'm gonna sing it again. And don't let the door hit you on the way out. And don't let the door hit you on the way out. And don't let the door hit you on the way out. And don't let the door hit you on the way out. Well, they could hardly wait to get the triggers loaded when the airplanes hitting the towers exploded. You should have seen them on the big TV. It was the first great war of the 21st century. The flames are still burning, they already had their man. They said he was hiding in the mountains of Afghanistan. We asked to see the evidence, they said they couldn't show. This is war, they said, and that's all you need to know. America, you're scaring me and making me ashamed. You're going out for blood and I can't let you do it. Not in my American name. You want to talk about the body count? Well, let's run it up the mast. Almost 4,000 people died in that New York City blast. And there's 5,000 people every month that you kill, strangling Iraq for a dirty dollar bill. And you want to talk about brutality? All right, let's get it out. Depleted uranium now, what's that all about? Innocent victims, can you even see their tears? Irradiated homelands for 4 billion years. And you want to talk about the terrorists and what makes them run? Well, you taught them everything they know. You even gave them their guns. Every killer with a grudge is just a tool to be used. And then you forget about them until they make the news. America, you're scaring me and making me ashamed. You're going out for blood and I can't let you do it. Not in my American name. justice that you claim. Yeah, but the numbers that we're talking about are a whole different game. Millions of people have no safe place to hide. That's not justice, my friend, that's genocide. So I'm gonna have my say, and I'll say it loud and clear. In every crowd, in every corner, every place I can find an ear. And you can try to shut me up, but no matter what you do, I got a right to speak, cause I'm American too. America, you're scaring me and making me ashamed. You're going out for blood and I can't let you do it. Not in my American name. America, you're scaring me and making me ashamed. You're going out for blood and I just can't let you do it. Not in my American name. Not in my American name. Hey George, I'm talking to you. You're bringing me disgrace, pretending to be my president. You were never even elected in the first place. Spending all of my money on that really ugly war and lying to everybody about the reasons that it's for. Well, it's oil money, George. It's been that way right from the start. Petroleum Bonaparte. Hey George, what's the body count? Does anybody know? When they're brown and foreign, do you bother or do you just let them go? And when the coffins come back home with our daughters and our sons, do you think the families give them a medal and ask them for another one? Well, it's kind of cold that way, isn't it, George? It's been that way right from the start. Petroleum Bonaparte. Hey George. It's not funny, but I don't think you're very smart. In fact, I think you're kind of stupid. You just play acting the part, like a psychopathic puppet with a pocket full of knives. Kind of feels good sometimes, doesn't it? Cutting up people's lives. It's a cynical proposition. It's been that way right from the start. Petroleum Bonaparte. George, you always did want to make a lot of noise. Now you can see yourself up there on the mountainside with the other bully boys, right there in the spotlight of the world for everybody to see. Well, there's more than one way, George, to go down in history, and it's been headed that way right from the start. Petroleum Bonaparte. Hey George, I hate to tell you, but you're headed for a fall. Your engine's overheating and you're way beyond recall. Somebody cut the brake lines and your steering wheel just spins, and there's a Waterloo with your name on it coming up around the bend. It's a dead-end proposition, George. It's in that way right from the start. Petroleum Bonaparte. That's right, George. Petroleum. We got a new administration. They say it's time for celebration. Everybody's so ecstatic about a Democratic come on. after the Reagan and Bush years, and the space between Danny Boy's ears. Anything is better than the same old song. Oh, and Mr. Bill is such a nice guy. You just know he wouldn't lie to you. He's got charisma, they say he's like JFK. He's got a hip vice president who's into the environment. He wrote a book about it once, so I know he's gonna mean what he say. Roll out the red carpet for the 90s, roll it out and let it flow. Roll out the red carpet for the 90s, here we go. Here we go. Now he came to my hometown. They gave him lights and sound, and they were playing John Lennon as he got out of his limousine. And as he spoke to the multitudes, all the necessary platitudes, they were rounding up the homeless so there wouldn't be a negative scene. Now there was nary a dry eye seeing the Savior with the necktie. All that saint salvation and repentance. Oh, but I gotta agree, you know, it's a miracle to me. First president we've had in 12 years who can speak a complete sentence. Roll out the red carpet for the 90s, roll it out and let it flow. Roll out the red carpet for the 90s, here we go. Here we go. Now he's fast food fed. He likes the Grateful Dead. He was against the war in Vietnam, or at least so I'm told. He gets down to the bone. He even plays the saxophone. And he's wanted to be president since he was 10 years old. Now he's into higher education. You know, that's a recommendation. He was a Rhodes Scholar, so you know he's got a high IQ. He smoked a little pot once. They talked about it for months. Oh, but he never inhaled. He didn't know that's what you were supposed to do. Roll out the red carpet for the 90s. Roll it out and let it flow. Roll out the red carpet for the 90s. Here we go. Here we go. Now they're such a pretty first family. I saw them lighting up the Christmas tree. Just the kind of people I'd like to have for my next door neighbors. Oh, but they don't play by the same rules. Their kids go to private schools. So I guess I'll just have to read about them in the daily papers. Now you might think I'm crazy. Oh, but I get a little hazy when I think about the rock and roll future of our nation. Is it just coincidental? Or am I going mental? They put Elvis Presley on a stamp just in time for the inauguration. Roll out the red carpet for the 90s. Roll it out and let it flow. Roll out the red carpet for the 90s. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, now I know what you're thinking. I see your eyeballs blinking. You're thinking I'm too cynical, I ought to have a little more faith. Oh, well, faith is to your credit, but just watch out where you put it, or you'll fall for a figurehead with a friendly face. It's happened before. Now I'll tell you, if you ask me, the real democracy comes from the bottom up and not the top down. Now there's a storm on the horizon, and we can see the waters are already rising. And if we don't learn how to swim for ourselves, you know we're all gonna drown. Roll out the red carpet for the 90s. Roll it out and let it flow. Roll out the red carpet for the 90s. Here we go. Here we go. Roll out the red carpet for the 90s. Roll it out and let it flow. Roll out the red carpet for the 90s. Here we go. Here we go. I never thought I'd come under attack. Now the world is changing, there's no going back. Danger at my shoulder and it's gaining fast. Questions I'm afraid of, but I have to ask. Who are they? And why do they hate us? Well, I was raised to believe in this American dream, all the greatness and glory, the way that it seemed. How God was on our side and God doesn't lie. So why do all these innocent people have to die? Who are they? And why do they hate us? Every color in the cloth has a history to tell. Ships across the ocean and the Liberty Bell. Heroes in the monuments, I know them by name, but now their granite jaws are shattered and their eyes are full of rain. My neighbor, she's a foreigner, I can't pronounce her name. When she talks about her homeland, her face fills with pain. She says she lost her children when the missiles hit. I don't know what to say, so I just change the subject. Who are they? And why do they hate us? I see the TV news and they're burning my flag in some faraway land where it's just another rag. The looks on their faces, they make me freeze. How in the world did we make so many enemies? Who are they? And why do they hate us? Reasons for unthinkable acts. Rage and retribution won't bring anybody back. Justice is alive, so subtle and sublime. Well, I'd like to believe them, but we're running out of time. I never paid much attention, guess I should have known. Every faraway country is somebody's home. Empires rise and empires fall. The world is big enough, there should be room for us all. Who are they? And why do they hate us? I'll tell you a story about a talk show host who's riding the airways from coast to coast, raking in the money like a royal flush, always in a hurry, that's why they call him Rush. You gotta make it to the mic, make it to the phone. He's Mr. Personality from flesh to bone. He got an answer for anything you might want to know, and if he doesn't, well, hey, it's his radio show, Rush Limbaugh. The $1 billion jaw, Rush Limbaugh. There ought to be a law. Now his fans are legion, so I've heard it said they call themselves ditto heads. But a ditto is a repeat down to the bone, so a head with a ditto ain't nothing but a clone. He pushes all the buttons that are feeding the fear, crawling like a maggot in your inside ear. If brain cells are made out of paper mache, he wouldn't know what to do with them anyway. Rush Limbaugh. The $1 billion jaw, Rush Limbaugh. There ought to be a law. Now it's a funny kind of cult-like radio thing. Some middle-aged frat rat pumping for the right wing, and all those cloned out echoey heads hanging on every other word he said. Now you take Mussolini and you give him a microphone, let him loose with a show of his own, and like everybody's favorite brown shirt clown will have your sidetrack laughing when the axe comes down. Rush Limbaugh. The $1 billion jaw, Rush Limbaugh. There ought to be a law. Now some people really love him and they can't get enough, buying t-shirts, bumper stickers, all that stuff. You got a bestseller on the New York Times. I guess some people just don't have a lot on their minds. I mean, it's a household word, a household name. Yeah, just like the hair in my bathroom drain, like some kind of weird radio lobotomy. But I can tell you right now, he ain't talking for me, Rush Limbaugh. The $1 billion jaw, Rush Limbaugh. There ought to be a law. Now I'm gonna shut my radio and send it south. I'm gonna get me some flypaper and put it over his mouth. I'm gonna disconnect his company store, so I won't have to put up with that kind of stuff anymore. And I'm gonna find me a place where the people have brains and they don't tolerate these virulent strains. I'm gonna open up, I'm gonna settle down, and if Rush shows up, I'm gonna run him out of town. Rush Limbaugh. The $1 billion jaw, Rush Limbaugh. There ought to be a law. Rush Limbaugh. The $1 billion jaw, Rush Limbaugh. There ought to be a law.
One hut, two hut, three hut, four. Everybody knows what the core is for. Shape 'em up right, ship 'em out. We got clean-cut clones with international clout. 5 hut, 6 hut, 7 hut, 8. Gotta keep your gender straight. Women are women and men are men. Don't get too friendly with your friends. Gays in the military, very scary. Gays in the military, very scary. Fearless warriors I have heard don't even know the meaning of the fear word. Cannonballs, they swat like flies. They don't even blink their eyes. 10,000 enemies in a pinch. They face them all and don't even flinch. They'll give a homosexual an even chance, and they wet their collective camouflage pants. Gays in the military, very scary. Gays in the military, very scary. General Patton had a great big gun, so did Attila the Hun. He was masculine, meticulous, they were so straight it was ridiculous. Every role model macho I have known just stiffens up and turns to stone. John Wayne was so petrified they named an airport after him when he died. Gays in the military, very scary. Gays in the military, very scary. Whoop. Now you're putting women in dangerous places. You're getting sexual harassment cases. You got pinups on the locker room doors. Come on, man, is that all we train them for? Don't tell me about your high standards. Your spit polished company commanders. Morality by the good old book. Ha, that was tail hook. Gays in the military, very scary. Gays in the military, very scary. Normality has its day, and every day must fade away. Change is hard to take when all your icons break. Wake up and smell the air, there's people rising up everywhere. Say goodbye to the sacred cow, cause we don't need it anyhow. Gays in the military, very scary. Gays in the military, very scary.
Well, he may be celebrity, he may be on TV, he may be the VP. Jesus, what a sight to see. He's a moron. Yes, and he may be authority, he may have seniority, he may be the main event, he may even be the president. But he's a moron. More often than not, he's a moron. Yes, and he may have been a little boy who liked to play with power toys, but he's old enough to squeal now, and all his toys are real now, and he's a moron. Yes, and he may be a college grad, a credit to his dear old dad. Clean cut and well bred, pat him on his little head, cause he's a moron. More often than not, he's a moron. Morons on the sidewalk, morons on the news. I see any more of these morons gonna give me the moron blues. Well, just the other day, this moron was heard to say, your flag is like a parachute. Don't think about it, just salute. Just salute. Some people think they're entertaining. Me, I find it kind of draining to watch this moron politic walk softly and carry a big stick. A big stick. I wonder what they're gonna do with it. He may be only following orders, acting like a human tape recorder, a professional automaton, soon to be an ex-con, but he's a moron. Yes, and he may be your father's ghost, the movie star you love the most, a savior with a six-gun, but after all is said and done, he's a moron. More often than not, he's a moron. Too cold for rainbows, too cold for sun, too cold for downpours, but we gonna get one. You better run for cover, rally around that flag. Ain't got a raincoat, I got a plastic bag. Come sit down by the fire, it'll do you some good. We're gonna keep it going as long as we got firewood. Too cold to sit down, too cold to stand, too cold to say hello, but I can shake your hand. This is where we live now, so come on in. As long as you ain't looking for trouble, you're welcome, friend. Pull a sleeping bag over, batten it down. Try to keep it level so you don't roll out on the ground. Living in America, in 10 cities. 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 Yeah, too cold to be living in tents, too cold to camp. Try to stay dry, everything gets damp. Too cold to be outside, but you can tell it to the cops. You got no other place to go, and the weather won't stop. Take a message to the mayor, a letter, deliver it from me. Tell him it all like I see him down here, keeping good company. Yeah, it's too cold. But what you gonna do? You gotta live somewhere. You know it's true. I can't pay the mortgage. I can't pay the rent. After food and bus fare, my money's just about all spent. Take a message to the man. Whisper it in his ear. Tell him until we see some changes, we're gonna stay right here. Living in America, in 10 cities. Living in America, in 10 cities. San Diego, living in America, in 10 cities. Portland, living in America, in 10 cities. Seattle.
Well, Big Bill sat in the White House chair, and little Willie, he was right down there. Oh, such a romantic escapade, breaking in another White House aid. Well, now, Big Bill was born to rule. He was 5'8" or something from an Ivy school. They say he could have made it all the way. Oh, but little Willie kept getting in the way. Oh, Big Bill, little Willie. Well, young one Monica's so direct. She wants to get a job working for the chief exec. Says Big Bill, well, now that's just fine. Gotta ask little Willie, he's a friend of mine. Oh, Big Bill, little Willie. Oh, Big Bill, little Willie. Well, you know the story, you've heard the tale. You light up, but you don't inhale. Is it sex or is it just big biz? Well, that depends on what the meaning of is. Doesn't it?
when the story finally busted wide, Big Bill, he put on his favorite Monica tie, and he addressed the nation on TV. He said, I did not have sex with that woman, she had sex with me. And he went to church and he bowed his head, and he prayed above his daily bread. He was contrite, we were assured. Oh, but little Willie never said a word. Oh, Big Bill, little Willie. Oh, Big Bill, little Willie. Now the tangled web and the thin disguise, and the quicksand swamp of see-through lies. It was a feeding frenzy fit to kill. They had a wonderful time up in Capitol Hill. And as for Monica, well, you know, her mama did the same thing years ago. Fame and fortune fits the scene with a spread in Playboy magazine. Oh, Big Bill, little Willie. Oh, Big Bill, little Willie. Now you know the story, you've heard the tale. You light up but you don't inhale. Is it sex or is it just big biz? Well, that depends on what the meaning of is. Doesn't it? Well, now you might think this is where the story ends, but I think there's a little bit more to it yet, my friends. For every right-wing wacko creep is having impeachment wet dreams in their sleep. And I may be right and I may be wrong, but I think there's a lot more to it going on. Power-shifting shadow plays and a doorway to a brand new phase. So pay your money and take your chance. Just get that cigar out of your pants. Face the future, give and take. But whatever you do, you better stay awake. Oh, Big Bill, little Willie. Oh, Big Bill, little Willie. Oh, Big Bill, little Willie.
You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. 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 Your mother had a baby. It was you. Now what do you think your mother did do to have that little kid? She had sex with your father, that's what she did. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. Well, there's a moldy old Bible and a kingdom come, and there in the common was the bathtub nun. She'd like to get clean, but she don't know how, 'cause God might see her through the wall somehow. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. So get with it, get it real. Look in the mirror, tell me, how do you feel? You got an animal face, a flesh and bone. Do you really want to spend your life alone? You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. All right. I'm sorry, my friend, but I don't believe there ain't nothing but morality up your sleeve. I shudder to think, should I stick around and see just what your morality might be? You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. So get with it. Get real. Look in the mirror, tell me, how do you feel? You got an animal face, flesh and bone. Do you really want to spend your life alone? You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. You're naked underneath your clothes. Everybody knows. We don't need these Puritan seeds. 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 1,000 years of darkness fell upon the human race. Supernatural architects with a shadowy face. They put the devil in the ground and the watcher in the sky. The eternal paranoia of an overhanging eye. We don't need these Puritan seeds. We don't need these Puritan seeds. Now when they first came to this continent, well, it was foreign to their eyes. And so the people lived with demons that they could recognize. And they killed as many of them as the reason would allow. They say it's all over, oh, but I think about it now. We don't need these Puritan seeds. We don't need these Puritan seeds. Fear is such a powerful thing. You can make almost anyone do anything. Fear is such a powerful thing. You can make almost anyone do anything, almost anything. There's a ghost in the heartland beating on a little tin drum to resurrect the Inquisition when the time comes. And in the corridors of power where the politicians play, well, there's invisible fingers in the modeling clay. You see the strange man calling for the righteous to rise. You see the armies of a god with blood in his eyes. We don't need these Puritan seeds. We don't need these Puritan seeds. A doctor to the clinic on his way to face the day. Cross the lines of danger where they kneel to pray. And no one saw the gunman ready to attack until the angel of no mercy shot the doctor in the back. We don't need these Puritan seeds. We don't need these Puritan seeds. Fear is such a powerful thing. You can make almost anyone do anything. Fear is such a powerful thing. You can make almost anyone do anything, almost anything. Now I demand a better future, much more beautiful by far, with nothing in between us and the nature that we are. Tear away the skin of shame that ties us to the rack. I demand a better future, and I will never go back. We don't need these Puritan seeds. We don't need these Puritan seeds. Love is such a powerful thing. It can make almost anyone do anything. Love is such a powerful thing. It can make almost anyone do anything. Almost anything.
Saw the pictures from the prison in Iraq. The man on the box with his hands on the wires and his head in a sack. The man in the hallway with his neck tied to a leash line. The cigarette grins of the soldiers giving up the high sign. Well, I wish I could believe it when they said it was an aberration. Just a few bad apples in an otherwise smooth operation. But there's just too many cracks in that tired old ruse. And now everybody gets to see Uncle Sam's got blood all over his brand new shoes. His brand new shoes, and there's something about us that we don't want to have to face. There's a killer instinct deep in this American race. And just ask anyone who's been on the other end of that leash, and they'll tell you. Selective memory loss is like a panacea. Big city cops took an immigrant man named Abner Louima, and they brought him downtown and they sodomized him with a toilet plunger. Never would have known, but somebody talked, and the story came out from under. Now I know what you're thinking, cops ain't soldiers, but sometimes the line gets blurred, and they've been scratching each other's back for a while now, I've heard. When there's a war around the world, you know that there's a war at home. And they will do whatever they want to you when they get you alone. Get you alone, and there's something about us that we don't want to have to face. And there's a killer instinct deep in this American race. And just ask anyone who's been on the other end of that leash, and they'll tell you. You want to really understand it, you gotta go back a ways. Back to the founding mythologies of what they call the good old days. The Indian wars in the Wild West, and guns in everybody's hand. The violence was good then. It gave us a motherland. Now sometimes things got out of control, and they crossed that unspeakable line, cutting off body parts and wearing them around. I guess soldiers just do that sometimes. We use your imagination. You know that they were feeling good. You know they would have taken pictures if they could. 'Cause there's something about us that we don't want to have to face. Yeah, there's a killer instinct deep in this American race. Just ask anyone who's been on the other end of that leash, and they'll tell you. We got 2 million people in prison right now, and pretty soon we're gonna have more. And I shudder to think about what I've heard goes on behind those doors. It's just the worst kind of sex and violence, and we know that's a fact. But nobody seems to care about it too much until it shows up in Iraq, and I guess that's the problem. We don't seem to be able to make a connection. We think we're some kind of chosen people, waiting for a resurrection, but our Savior is a con man, and he's looking out for number one. He'll give you $24 worth of junk jewelry and take it back at the point of a gun. At the point of a gun, and there's something about us that we don't want to have to face. Yeah, there's a killer instinct deep in this American race. Just ask anyone who's been on the other end of that leash, and they'll tell you. 'Cause there's something about us that we don't want to have to face. And there's a killer instinct deep in this American race. Just ask anyone who's been on the other end of that leash, and they'll tell you. 'Cause there's something about us.
And then at 8 o'clock, Jim Page is
I've heard of
performing.
him.
You
Yeah.
heard of him?
Yeah.
Like him, like a while ago.
He's okay, yeah. As a matter of fact, I've been spending quite a bit of time with him recently.
Have you been like following him around?
Not
doing
following
tour
him
with
around,
or-
but if he doesn't show up, I do.
You do it for him. Oh,
yeah,
that's
I do
so
it for
cool.
him. Yeah, I know most of his material.
I'm so glad we have a stand-in for Jim Page tonight, just in case he doesn't materialize. So, Jim Page, all the way down from Seattle. Is that right?
Yeah. No, I love it down here. I come down usually once a year. It depends. Sometimes I skip a year or whatever. I think I skipped last year for some weird reason.
I don't know why.
I don't know what's wrong with that guy. Sometimes he just gets like that, But it's magic down here, and it's it's like a rejuvenation of your. I guess of your personal groundedness to come here and do this and see people and perform, and it's like reconnecting with the extended family. It's just it's something that a person needs to do. I need to do. Yes. Well, the first time actually was Daryl Cherney invited me down for a benefit at the Mateel for Behr Mountain or Behr Butte.
Behr Butte.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember too because I, of course, shooting off my big mouth, said, well, if I'm going to sing a benefit for this, I want to go see it. So they arranged to climb. So I came down. I remember coming down. I had this old rattle trap something or other that I drove down, and I wound up in the middle of Garberville having no idea where anybody was. See, I think I had a phone number, but I had no address or something like that, whatever. So I just stopped in the middle of the street, and I got out of the car, and I think I might have yelled something, and somebody heard me. And Daryl was up in the office of the environmental center there, and he called down to me. So then I went up, and I slept on the floor. And that morning, a bunch of us, 5 of us, went and climbed Behr Butte. And I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I was struck with a fit of, what do they call, vertigo, when I was up there over those cliffs. And then on stage that night, I realized that my legs were a bit wobbly. And the next morning, I had to go play in Willits. And, oh, man, I could not put the brakes on.
because my legs hurt so bad, because I hadn't really climbed anything in a while. You see, so that was my first visit to Garberville. It was great.
And that was the first time I heard you.
Really?
And I think what really impressed me was how you went hiking in the afternoon, and then you were on stage singing about it that night. I was like, whoa.
He created a song within...
He created several songs.
Hours?
Yeah.
Oh, within minutes. Yeah. I mean, probably, how does that work? Do you open your mouth and the words just come out? Or
Well, you have to think a little bit, but if you think too much, then you will edit yourself and then nothing happens. You know, then you get tongue-tied and you wind up with people that say, "Oh, I can't do that." You know, of course you can't. You're thinking too much. You think less, and you can. It's amazing what you can do if you think less, and that's a problem to say because when it comes to things like auto mechanics or whatever, if you think less, then you'll try to shove a spare tire in the gas tank or something.
But the secret to being an incredible singer-songwriter like Jim Page is to think less and sing more.
Well, the less you think, the more you sing, pretty soon it just flows. You're talking about Garberville recreational committees and all that kind of stuff. And you're getting hungry and you're thinking about that dinner that they're going to feed. And a guy named Jim Page who came down from Seattle, and maybe it's just the kind of music that we need. Well, go check it out. Turn off the TV and, hey, don't knock the radio. Don't touch that dial if it's on KMUD, because that's where every dial ought to go. But you get yourself together and you walk on down to Garberville, or you drive, or you use your thumb. Civic Center, man. That's where the real talent comes. Behr's changing hats. She's getting her outside gear together. She's going to go out there downtown Redwood and face that inclement weather. And she's going to get the food already. So hold yourself rock steady, because we're going to have some fun and some food tonight. That's right. In Garberville.
Off the cuff. Oh my gosh, that was so fun.
I've done better, but that was pretty good.
I love it. So you're a music man and a funny man.
Oh, I don't know. I just do what I do. I learned a long time ago that everybody has something. And if you just find what that something is and you allow yourself to do it, then you'll be fine. Don't try to do what somebody else does, but do the something, whatever that is that you do.
When did you start feeling that this was your knack in art? As a child or a teenager?
Well, I was 15. I'll tell you about it. No one could sing the blues like Lightning Hopkins. I don't care what anybody said. I was 15 years old, riding by the passenger window with my radio up against my head. That's when I heard him for the first time, cutting in through the noise of the car. And my whole world turned upside down. I just had to learn to sing and play guitar. So I got on my bicycle with the high-rise handlebars, and I would ride for 20 miles on a run. I got every one of his records I could find back then. Had 11 of them by the time I was done. And I never learned to play the blues. I hope that's alright. I never learned to sing the blues, but I can sing and play guitar all night. Now all those years later up in Seattle town, the lightning came through playing 3 nights in a row. I caught up with him early in the dressing room. Somehow I just had to let him know. So I took out my guitar and I started playing. And I made him up a song to tell it right, about the radio in the car and all of his records, and how glad I was to meet him that night. And I sang about what he taught me without even knowing it, and all the lessons I still had to learn. And Lightning, he just grinned. When I was done, he told me a story in return. And I never learned to play the blues. I hope that's alright. I never learned to play the blues, but I can sing and play guitar all night. said he was walking around the backwoods down in Texas one time. When he was only 12 years old, he was carrying his guitar, it was almost as big as he was. He was tired, hungry, and cold. He saw some people was having a picnic, and he asked if he could sing for his meal. They turned him away, he said, because he was too raggedy. He could still remember how it made him feel. Then he looked off into the distance through his dark sunglasses, and he grinned a little more just for chance. He said, now I got money in the bank back home, and they know who I am in France. And I never learned to play the blues. I hope that's alright. I never learned to play the blues, but I can sing and play guitar all night. Lightning died back in '82. I can still remember where I was and how I heard. I was playing the meeting place in Dublin. A local blues singer gave me the word. Now some people, they pass right through you. Maybe they leave a little mark. Some people shine like a light for you sometimes, help you find your way when it gets dark. Now they say that this world is made of stories, and from these stories our songs are grown. Sometimes, the songs get so big, you just have to go out and make a song of your own. And I never learned to play the blues. I hope that's alright. I never learned to play the blues, but I can sing and play guitar all night.
Oh my goodness, I love the storytelling.
True story.
I love it. So much information being passed on.
But yeah, that's a technique. That's something that we've done for humans. We've done this for millions of years. I mean, the music business is a child compared to music itself. What gives them the right to come in and say that I can or cannot sing this or sing that? What? I mean, it is preposterous. It is an insult that they do it in the first place, and it is a bigger insult that most people say, oh, okay. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. It's funny.
You are so Southern humbled. I love it. And the people here love you too. Everybody, Jim is renowned for forcing the city of Seattle to allow musicians to play on the streets. So are you you're a man of political nature?
We all are.
Yeah.
It's a question of whether you admit it and act on it or not, and live up to your obligations or not. I mean, you either live by or in spite of privilege. There's really no other way. So you have an obligation to address that. Most people that live by privilege don't want to for obvious reasons. And most people that live in spite of are not allowed to. And it becomes difficult for them to. So it's problematic that way. I didn't really force the city of Seattle. It was so easy. I mean, there was an old law on the books that said that it was illegal to sing on the streets for the purposes of, sing or perform on the streets for the purposes of collecting money, however you want to put that, without a permit. And the only permits available were for what they called at the time blind and disabled people. So it was a catch-22 situation, and I was threatened with, arrest if I, didn't comply. So I proceeded to, see what I could do about that. It seemed like a good summer project. And the more I got into it, the more I found that everybody thought it was really kind of cool that I was doing it. I had the newspapers. Not the newspapers per se, but there were several journalists that were on my side. The university newspaper, the Seattle Post-Intelligencer, Rick Anderson was on my side. There were several stories on television. I don't remember who it was exactly right now, but I had a certain city council person that I was working with, I was going to see on a regular basis. I had meetings with the mayor and a representative of the police department, whose name, I swear, was Dale Evans. I mean, that's what I remember. there he was, a big guy with his boots and his gun, and my name is Dale Evans. It was really funny. And then we had an open city council meeting to decide, whether this bit of, what's that called, the city code should be overturned or not, should be amended. And it was open to public, testimony. And so I made these little quarter-page flyers. I put them all over town saying Jim Page live at the city council's chambers, 2 o'clock, Tuesday, whatever, 2:30, whatever time it was, And the place filled up. People came, and it was standing room only crowd. And lots of people testified. I wrote a song for it, and I played the song, and lots of people testified. And can you guess, there was only one person representing only one organization that was opposed to legalizing street performance. Can you guess, specifically music in my case, I guess. Can you guess who that was? What organization that was?
Oh my gosh, I'm not witty enough to think of.
Oh, it's not witty. It's just let your instincts take over.
Who was opposed to having free music? Some sort of music industry up there?
Yeah, but the Musicians Union.
Oh, how ironic.
Yeah, it is ironic. It is ironic, but they were the only one. Nobody else was opposed to it.
I didn't even know they had a union, actually.
Yeah, no, they do.
Okay.
And it's, it's in those days, at least, especially, it was a lot of symphony players and lounge musicians and stuff. And the rest of us who were playing the rock bars and so on, I was like, get out of here. Things have changed to a certain extent, but yeah. And so it was pretty easy. And since then, it's been on the books. And some of us, a small group of us, about 4 years ago, formed a street performers guild in Seattle, and we started doing buskers festivals. We just had our 4th annual busker festival, busker being a street performer. So it's a trip. I mean, Seattle is like this, hey, you want to go perform on the street? Go to Seattle, It's a trip. It's very cool.
Wow, there's so much energy on the streets. It must be really fun to perform on them.
Yeah, well, there is. I don't know if this strikes anybody else but me, but I was looking through a book of photographs the other day from San Diego, and the one I was looking at was like 1911 or something. And there was a crowd of people in a public square, and there was somebody standing on a soapbox or some kind of box, gesticulating and very lively. He was talking about something, right? It was like it was a political. He was soapboxing, and he had 200 people around him. And they were all adults, and they were all neatly dressed, and they were all, and they were all taking this public display of democracy quite seriously. And I looked at it and I thought, because that doesn't happen now. If you try to do that now, people think you're a head case. So how did we get there? How do we get to where we are now? How do we get from it being respectable, expected, and serious to do your democratizing outdoors like that? Anybody stand up and start talking, to only head cases do that. How did we get here?
It sounds like a good
weird.
College course.
Yeah, it's weird. So
do you want to go out on what's your mood right now? What are you feeling?
What's my mood right now? Well, actually, this is my mood. What the hell? I'll just say that I hope people come down and that we have a good turnout. I like songs like this because it's a ballad, and it I don't know how to say it. It kind of swirls around, it kind of floats. I live in Seattle. Just south of Seattle, 60 miles, is a town called Olympia. Rachel Corey lived in Olympia. I've since met her parents. For those of you that don't know, Rachel Corey was a young woman that stood in front of the Israeli bulldozer that was gonna knock down the Palestinian pharmacist's house. She had a bright red jacket on and a bullhorn. just to flush the story out a little bit, a few months after that happened, I was in Denver, Colorado, playing at an event. And I met a young woman there named Alice. Alice is probably 23, something like that. And Alice was a street medic. And she had been there. She was there when Rachel Corrie was killed. She held her in her arms. I've seen pictures of it. And to flush the story out a little bit more, Alice was trained by Ron Rosen. And Ron Rosen was a Vietnam veteran against the war who was one of 4 or 5 Vietnam veterans who served as medics at Wounded Knee in 1973. So Ron Rosen trained Alice, and Alice carries on the work now. So I wanted to do something. I knew I'd met Rachel, but I couldn't be sure, you know. I wanted to do something, so I started digging around, and if you go on the web there, you can read some of her letters that she wrote home to her mother and father. So I wrote this song. It's called I'd Rather Be Dancing. You know I was always the one. To take these off, I can't hear. You know I was always the one. I could never stand idly by and watch while the bullies beat up on the weaker ones. I had to do something to try, and I never gave up on people, that we could be better somehow. Morality's compass, you gave it to me, and I still follow it now. Well, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't get it out of my mind. The pictures, the stories, the plight of the people in occupied Palestine, and how my government makes me complicit with the political aid that they send. So I packed up my bags and I headed to Rafa to work with the ISM. And I'd rather be dancing and falling in love. But if I can just watch from a distance, then what am I made of? Mama, these people are so good to me. They treat me like a one of their own. They feed me and see to my needs, and let me sleep in their homes. And Papa, their lives are so hard. The gunshots every night, the strip searches, the humiliations. Papa, it just isn't right. Well, I can feel my white skin privilege. It's there in my American face. I could wave my passport around like a flag and I would be safe in this place. For these child soldiers of Israel, they look like the boys back home. And if it wasn't for American money, they'd have to leave these people alone. And I'd rather be dancing to Pat Benatar. Oh, but somebody has to do something about it. Here we are. Tractors are coming today. They're like tanks with bulldozer blades. The name on the side says Caterpillar, and that means they're American made. Well, I am American too, and I'll be where everybody can see. So if they want to run over those houses today, they're gonna have to run over me. Well, it's dangerous taking a stand, but it's dangerous running away. Sometimes you have to face up to the danger. There is just no other way. But there are such beautiful dreams I have seen in the eyes of a child. If I can just make one little difference, then I think my life is worthwhile. And I'd rather be dancing. Instead I'm saying goodbye. But we'll meet again when it's over, don't cry. And I'd rather be dancing. And surely we'd all rather be. And someday we'll dance in a world that's peaceful and free.
Thank you so much, Jim. That was amazing and heartfelt.